Hey, True Believers. Chris Mack coming at you with Deadpool number 20. Or if they were actually keeping the original count, I believe this was 270. And this issue, on a first read, it seems kind of like quick and you're just sort of like, wait a minute. But when you really start thinking about it, it really is heartfelt and really works through a very sensitive subject matter that needs to be addressed. And Gary Duggan does a really good job on it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. The print date on this book is December 2016. And so we open up on this girl getting ready to jump. And just the vastness, kind of, it sort of, to me, shows how she's feeling this like emptiness, this bleakness. But then I like, don't jump! You know, she has this look and then you get that abrupt voice. And she's just like, wait a minute. And Wade's like, please, not here. Parker Industries is just a few blocks down. That's sort of a address you fling yourself to death at. And she's like, you're making jokes? And what I really like about this book is, you know, a lot of people have taken Deadpool and done the LOL so random, you know, unicorns and chimichangas and it kind of really makes Deadpool, it kills what he really was, where he was a wisecracker. If you go back and read Liefeld stuff where he was introduced in X-Force, and that was not his style. So I don't know where the randomness came from. Now, what I like here is Duggan kind of leaves all that behind. You know, like it doesn't even say like, you know, on this episode of Deadpool, you know, it's, you know, Deadpool. And then we get the story. And so he sits down with her. And he goes, yeah, I'm sure a real hero would have something profound to say to you to make you feel better instantly. But I'm all you got. And this kind of reminds me like Duggan's kind of doing the opposite of what Grant Morrison did in All-Star Batman. Or no, it wasn't All-Star Batman. It was, or Superman. It was, wasn't even Grant Morrison. God, I can't remember who wrote it. But it was towards the tail end of Superman before Flashpoint. And the girl's getting ready to jump. And Superman says, I'm just going to sit here with you. And he sits there. He floats mid-air with her. And she finally decides to change her mind, which was really heartfelt. So in this sense, it's kind of the same way. But Deadpool doesn't have that type of charisma that Superman or Captain America or Peter Parker would have. And he goes, I'm Deadpool. What's your... Don't what? Don't pretend to care. And I like how Deadpool says, you're being presumptuous. I don't care yet. You're making it awfully hard for me to get my care on. Is it a boy? A girl? Money? Did you marry a succubus and she might run your life? You know, Deadpool, Wade, wasn't exactly the smartest person to begin with, and he went a little crazy after the X Factor thing, or not the X Factor, the Weapon X thing. And so it comes out, and he's talking to her, and she's like, are you trying to make me jump? No, never. Though I've been told that can make people very uncomfortable. And so she's like, I hate you. I think maybe that's a sign you're on the mend. And so what he finally says is, why don't you come out with me tonight? I'll make, you know, if this is to be your last night on Earth, why don't we make it a big night on New York City on me? And she goes, you're a maniac. What's wrong with you? And he says, have you seen Hamilton? No, I haven't seen it. And anyway, aren't tickets like $1 million? Now at this point, Deadpool is the building that he's living in. He says this is his home. He didn't want her to jump off of. It's the old Avengers Unity building where, what was his name? Wasn't Jeff Lemire? Or was it Jeff Lemire? No, Rick Remender. There it is. He did Uncanny Avengers, and this was their building. So Wade's kind of shacking up in there. And so he takes her to see Hamilton. And she's like, I can't believe that you did that. Are they going to be okay? He's like, I said I knew a guy with tickets. I didn't say they give them to us. And don't worry about these two. They're manslaughtering slumlords. So what Deadpool reveals is why he's living in the Unity Avengers building. There's been people writing, asking for help. And so he's been kind of stockpiling some for a rainy day. and he decides to spin them with this girl who we find out its name is Danielle. And he's like, where to now? And she's like, Parker Industries. And she's like, and Deadpool's like, you made a joke. Wait, you're not joking? And so he eventually kind of, he coaxes her into just going on. He's like, okay, we saw a musical. Now we're going to go take out these people who are stealing people's data and ransoming it. Well, the first one is, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. The first one is he wants to take down this guy who lives in kind of like a slum apartment who's been stealing everything from his elderly neighbors. And so he's teaching her, he's like, when I knock on the door, he goes, sexy maids. He says, when you see the peephole go dark, you kick the door in. And so he bashes this door in. She has this look of shock. And then there's the deadbeat. He's like, Mom? And her teeth are just hanging out there. Just, oh, man. And Deadpool's just like, to be fair, none of the letters mentioned her. And so he's able to take down this guy and give all the equipment back to the people he'd stolen from. He's like, we want to pull our punches at the next one. And she's kind of like, whatever, because I think she's just kind of resolved. And this is the one I was talking about where these hackers are stealing stuff from people's cloud storage and ransoming it back. And while he's getting in on the action, someone grabs Danielle. And she gives them a whack back. She goes, get the hell off of me. And you can kind of see in her eyes here that she kind of has this cathartic feeling on her face, just like, whew, just to get some of that steam off, you know what I mean? And all while this is happening, Deadpool's been doing something kind of sweet, altruistic. I don't want to give it away. And so he finally says, this is our last stop. And she says, you can't let me off anywhere? No, I can't. I'm smart enough to know I'm dumb enough that I can't help you. But they can. And so I don't want to give away everything, but what I like here is Deadpool says, you got to remember, no matter how bad things get, that life is fluid. There's always the chance that something great is waiting right around the next corner. Now, I don't want to reveal what happens to old Wade there, but I like that, with this look, he just says, you just have to find a way to keep rounding corners. And it's true, no matter how bad life gets, you have to keep looking up and just staying positive. Even how bad you feel, just embrace it and just know things are going to get better. And what I like here is at the end, the story is called The Never-Ending Struggle. Gary Duggan, writer. Matteo Lolli is the artist. Guru EFX is the colors. VC's Joe Sabino's doing the lettering. Here's everyone else that's worked on the book. And then I kind of wanted to end reading this. He goes, there are all-star heroes that can save a life with a single word balloon. And then there's Deadpool. He'll say something. Will it be helpful? Probably not. I laughed at the thought of Deadpool confronted with a suicidal character. I spent the last few years trying to do unexpected things with Wade, but even I had to admit that the poor character probably wasn't going to make it. I immediately discarded the idea. There are easier Deadpool stories to tell. Then I changed my mind. I had this guilty feeling that I had sold Deadpool short. Besides, funny and sad is my sweet and sour. Maybe this should be a perfect Deadpool comic. I had no idea how he was going to succeed in saving a suicidal character, but I was determined to find out. Then I wrapped the script. I also had to admit that I could do no better than Deadpool. Nothing is more frustrating than not having the perfect words when you need them the most. That's really what this story is all about, when words fail. The good news for you, me, and Deadpool is that we don't need to have answers. Excuse me. We just need to help make the circuit between the people that need help and the professionals. And I like that he actually puts this here at the end. Immediate help can be found by calling the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, and the TALK is 8255. All the best, Gary. So as I said, on a first read, you'd think that, okay, there's some randomness, and it's like a one-and-done comic book, which is rare nowadays, where it's a self-contained story. So that's probably the first thing right out of the gate that I really appreciated about it, where, things will keep saying, to be continued, or in this next, okay, so we read Deadpool, now in X-Men, and you have to go buy another issue, self-contained, and it's Deadpool focusing on saving a life. And that's where I really feel like you kind of start to get the core of a character, instead of like these massive events or monsters invading New York City. It's your fellow human helping another fellow human. So that's what I find really intriguing and very poignant about this issue. So as I said, it's really a sensitive subject, but Gary Duggan masterfully covered it in this issue. Now, with that said, I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Pablo. He does this podcast called Talk Nerdy to Me. He donated this comic book to the club. So thank you very much, brother. I'll make sure to leave a link to his Facebook page down in the comments below. And once all the craziness in the world calms down, this will be one of the comics that we have in our grab bag. So whomever grabs that, I hope they enjoy reading it as much as I did. Now, if you've enjoyed this book, please first and foremost check with your local comic shop to see if they have it in stock. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Deadpool bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love to hear your feedback and have a dialogue with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.